it has reference to this man, as in, who is this man? Okay? If you put into a search engine on YouTube, okay, Malala Yousafzai's inspiration for a generation, okay? Malala, M-A-L-L-A-L-A, Malala Yousafzai, I believe it's spelled Y Yousafzai. Well, Y-O-U-S-A-F-A-Z. Inspiration for a generation. Please look it up and listen to what the girl says. You'll first of all find her walking along this path, pavement rather, in Edgbaston, Birmingham, with a person who is supposed to be her father. Then it cuts to her being outside, well, next to a building on the right hand side, isn't it? And she gives this speech. Now listen to the speech. Let me just come back to the background story. Malala Yousafzai, this girl that, if you've called it up, is standing before you. This girl is a Pakistani schoolgirl who came out of the school one day, got onto a bus, was at the back of the bus, and the Taliban got onto the bus and she got shot in the head. Alright, she's in Pakistan. Bear in mind, she's in Pakistan. She's a Pakistani. She's in a Pakistani school. Mother was Pakistani, father Pakistani, brother's Pakistani. It's all Pakistan, okay? Her friends and her teachers are Pakistan. She's living in Pakistan. Her school is in Pakistan. Her friends are in school friends Pakistan. I'm just emphasising this because right before you, she's saying that she's glad to be going back to school. One of the happiest days of my life. Be going back. I've got me bag, I've got me books, and I'm going to see me friends and me teacher. Hang on a minute, dear. You're standing there. You should be standing in Pakistan saying these words. Please look it up. And then ask yourself, who is Malala Yousafzai? Who is George Muller? Because at the end of the day, is this a real man? There is a question. Is this real? Is this person real? Has he been created? We don't know. Maybe he is real. Maybe we can find I was going to say we may be able to find a grave, but then again, somebody might have used the name off a grave. Is this man real? Because this story isn't real. It's not real at all. It's propaganda for the neo-evangelical camp, our enemies, to throw at us. Malala Yousafzai is not real. Her story contradicts itself. And if you're looking at that story, okay, of this girl standing outside this so-called school, this building to the right, and she gives this piece that it's a wonderful day to be going back to her school in Edgbaston, Birmingham. Yeah, right. Just let the the footage carry on. And you'll find, well, you will find, you'll see it, that she's being then introduced. She comes in through a door into a classroom, okay? The door opens, a woman comes through with Malala, explaining to the Malala what the school does. Well, hang on a minute, madam. If you'd have been outside so many minutes ago, if the speech was done so many minutes ago. Anyhow, when she was outside, if you, woman, you, head teacher, because that's the person who would be there with her, introducing her to the school, you should have been outside, because Malala says she already belongs to this school. She doesn't need any introduction to this school. So why are you introducing her to this school? And then they go into it, look at some trophies and say, this and that is of the school. But hang on a minute, she said outside that she belongs to this school. But then previously she belonged to the school in Pakistan. It's all a con, and this is all a con. George Muller's a con. Yes, there are certain people of neo-evangelical creations that are actually persons, real persons. This may be a real person, but they've got to actually prove to us he was a real person. You know, as in the write-up is this person, and it's not this person. And again, so who is this person? Who is Malala Yousafzai? She's a real person, flesh and blood. But she's an actress. And it's a created name. We're living in a day that Christendom is slumbering and sleeping. Wake up. Maybe the call has gone forth already. Huh? At the midnight hour there was a cry made. The bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Maybe the call has already been sent out, and it's been continually sent out, just as the Reformation through Huss. And then the people, it's not just Jan Hus, but others. He was a central figure. He was just a central figure. The elder brother. Okay? To focus upon. Not to be idolised, worshipped, adored and all the rest of it. He's our elder brother. Because who maketh us to differ? Only God. And yet we're all justified by faith, so we're all equal. We're all equal. Okay, George Muller. Okay, all this write-up about him is nonsense. It's just to promote neo-evangelicalism. Let me say this in closing. Okay, we have to be careful what we read and what we take in. This leaven here of the Pharisees, of this religion of neo-evangelicalism, once it gets in, it starts to pervade everything. And the only way to fight these beggars is to realise that it's neo-evangelicalism in the first place, therefore it cannot be trusted. It's like looking at Adolf Hitler or Benito Mussolini or Stalin or Rasputin and so on and so on and so forth, understanding what they are, and everything that comes from them is a lie. As soon as we recognise neo-evangelicalism, we recognise a lie. Therefore we should be on our guard. We shouldn't be reading this unless we first principally understand neo-evangelicalism is the enemy. So what it pens is very subtle. Very subtle. And I tell you something now, if you're one of those persons that stand up and say, well, you know, if I were the first Adam, I wouldn't have fell for this trickery. Well, you fell for this lot. This here, come on, this here, the writing up of George Muller's life, okay, this character, okay, this character is so magnetic that people are fooled by it. Now, Adam wasn't fooled because before the fall there was a perfect knowledge. After the fall we have to be on our guard. He didn't have to be on his guard because he fully knew what was going on. And he chanced his arm. He was curious. He was rebellious. Chanced his arm, oh well, nothing will happen because if she takes the fruit. And I could just say, well, of which he missed the point, didn't he? Oh well, you know, I can take it from her and I won't be accused because I can accuse her. And if all falls out, I'll accuse God for creating her. You see, the judgment, he clearly thought the judgment was upon him if he took the fruit. But because he didn't take the fruit directly, but indirectly, he couldn't have been held guilty. Well, hey, receiving stolen goods, you're equally guilty, matey boy. Anyhow, today we have to be on our guard. We haven't got the clear understanding that Adam had. Okay, so we have to be on our guard, and this is very subtle. This is very subtle, which is penned by the neo-evangelicals for this character. As we say, he might be a real person, but certainly what is written up here is not. It's not the person. That's far from it. It's a fairy story. Fairy story for kids. We've got to realise this. You see, at the end of the day, come on, at the end of the day, these blackguards are tormenting Christians. Those Christians that have not matured. You see, if you're a babe in Christ or a youth in Christ, there's not much difference in some ways. Okay. You're susceptible. I was once susceptible. Because of the subtlety of the words and the fact that everybody was running with these things. Okay, so it was made accepted. And I often saw what one of the consequences was, that there were so-called ministers. I now know that they're not ministers, but so-called ministers. That's with so-called evangelists and so-called a lot of things, that they couldn't understand why it was that the blessing of God was not coming upon their lives, because they were more stalwarts for God than those around them. They couldn't figure it out. And it left them, and it still leaves them, in an immature state of mind and intellect, fretting, wondering, saddened, because they've departed from God. They're asleep, slumbering and sleeping. And an awful lot are foolish virgins. You see, equally, they turn around and they see these Billy Grahams of the day. Thousands being saved. Well, why isn't God blessing me? But Billy Graham's a papist. He's a blackguard. He's a denier of the faith. But God is blessing him, and they don't understand. Because they don't understand the principle that these people belong to neo-evangelicalism, our enemy, our avowed enemy. And so they will say these things. And they will say to us, oh, God's with us, look at all this, look at all that, look at all the other. But when we start to strip it, by looking at it, strip it to pieces, take the whole picking engine apart, we find it's just nothing. It's a sham. It's a con. Hey? Ah. Hello, who are you? Oh, I see, you're from the gas board. You've got the blue suit on and the tabard with your... Oh, I see. Right, so you... Oh, right, yeah, I can see all that. Yeah, you don't really have to tell me you're from the gas board. You've got your little tabard round there, okay. You've got your suit on. You've got gas board on. Your suit, I see, yeah, fine. Yeah. Oh, come in. You want to... Oh, I see. You want to read the meter and you want to check the meter to see that it's okay. Why is that? Oh, well, 2 years. Oh, I see. Legislation says you have to visit every 2 years. Okay, then. Fine, fair enough. Oh, who's this, by the way? Oh, is he your apprentice? You're learning him the ropes. Okay, come in. By all means, come in. It seems all right, you know, this meter. Oh, what's that? You want to use the toilet? Oh, right. Yeah, no problem. Oh, yeah. No. Do you know these? You know, fair enough. Young lad goes off, use the toilet. 10 minutes later, they've gone. Nice people. Nice, courteous, welcoming. Really nice people. Even the apprentice was nice. Yes, officer, they were. They were really nice, these people. I had no objection. They had the credentials, they had the suit, they had the whole lot. They just wanted to come in to read my meter and to check to see if it was fine. And the young lad went and used a toilet, officer, and that was it. But unfortunately, after they left, I discovered that they'd gone away with my life savings. They'd stolen from me, but they were nice people. I can't understand. Did you not ring the gas board and ask them to see if these people were from them? No, I just trusted them. You know, and this is what happens to the likes of Jules Muller. I trust this report that was given out. I trust it. And then one day you find, hang on, this is a false report. And of course, at the end of the day, who's going to receive our report? That this is a false report. I tell you something now. People are robbed left, right and centre by smoothies like this. And it's about time we woke up. And maybe, as we said before, there is this generation that is waking up to the culmination of the end of the world. We shouldn't be saddened. We shouldn't be overwhelmed. It's the way that God has performed things and thought things. And when God thinks in eternity, before this world began, when he thought, that thought came into being. What stands now is what God has thought in the beginning. Before the foundation of the world. And it's all set up for the glory of God, not for the glory of man. It's all there. I like what Paul says to the Corinthians, these unsettled people. About himself. And about the hidden things of darkness. And how God in Christ will make things manifest even more so in the days of visitation that come every so often. Paul says in chapter 4 of 1 Corinthians verse 7, for who maketh thee to differ from another? And what hast thou that thou didst not receive? Received from God. It's all received from God. Now if thou didst receive it, okay, of God, Why dost thou glory as if thou hadst not received it? In other words, don't be arrogant. No, I've got it of myself. I'm better than you. I've got it of myself. No, you received it of God. I can't stand these arrogant people. Knowledge, when it is embraced wrongly, puffeth up. Knowledge is fine. Knowledge is the thing. Right knowledge is a jewel in the crown of the life. Wisdom is even so. Perception is so. Understanding is so. We need to get hold of these jewels for our crown, because we are crowned by justification by faith. We sit in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. And we need to add to this crown, so to speak, for the life. And it's pertaining to this life that we live. Wisdom and understanding, clarity, observation. Yeah, look around, observe. It's amazing what we see when we observe. Open our eyes and observe. Look around. Look at the tops of buildings. Look at buildings themselves. Look at people. How they go about their daily walk. Look at them. Look. And then look at ourselves. Always look. Have eyes to see. That's what we've got eyes for. And ears to hear. And let us be slow to speak and slow to wrath. Not like the world, knee-jerky.